Hi students, in this video we will discuss about stable state voltages and currents of a fixed bias bistable multivibrator. So the stable state voltages and currents are related to the transistors Q1 and Q2. So what are the voltages of transistor Q1? And Q1 is VC1, collector voltage and base voltage. We have to find it, collector and base voltage. And the currents are, these are voltages, currents of a bistable my multivibrator for the transistor Q1 or currents are IC1 and IB1, and for transistor Q2 the voltages are VC2, VB2 base voltage and collector voltage, and the currents are IC2 and IB2. So we have to find the collector voltage, base voltage, collector current, base current of transistor Q1, and collector voltage, base voltage, collector current and base currents of transistor Q2. So the collector voltage at this point VC2, base voltage VB2, and the collector current IC2 and base current IB2. The collector voltage is VC1 here and the base voltage is VB1. The base current is IB1 and the collector current is IC1. So we have to find the stable state voltages and currents of a fixed bias bistable multivibrator. So we'll see the standard specifications for silicon transistor and germanium transistors. Standard specifications. When the transistor is on, what are the standard specifications? So if the transistor is in saturation region, for example, one of the transistor is in saturation region, what are the corresponding values for a silicon transistor? If it is a silicon transistor, VC sat, that is collector emitter saturation voltage is 0.3 volts, and VBE sat, that is base emitter saturation voltage is around 0.7 volts for silicon transistor. For germanium, VCE sat, that collector emitter saturation voltage is around 0.1 volt, and base emitter saturation voltage is for germanium it is 0.3 volts. This is for on transistor. For the transistor to be in cutoff region or that is in off state, so what are the corresponding values of VBE? VBE cutoff value is equal to less than or equal to 0 for silicon transistor, and it must be equal to less than or equal to minus 0.1 for germanium transistors. So these are the conditions must be or standard specifications of a silicon and germanium transistors when they are on and off. So the stable states of this bistable multivibrator is, one of the stable state is, so the stable state one is Q1 is on and Q2 is off. This is one of the stable state where we'll get the stable state voltages, and another stable state is, second stable state is Q1 is off and Q2 is on. So these are the two stable states which are possible for a bistable multivibrator until and unless we apply an external triggering signals, then only the state will be changes, otherwise the stable state is fixed. So consider the stable state Q2 is on and Q1 is off. The transistor Q2, let us consider, we can take either of these two cases. So let us consider Q2 is on and Q1 is off. That is, transistor Q2 is in saturation region and the transistor Q1 is in cutoff region. So for this case we need to find VC1, VB1, VC2, VB2, IC2, IB2 base current, and IC1 and IB1. So we have to find these stable state voltages and currents. For example, first the transistor is Q2 is on. Q2 is on means this is in saturation region. So if it is in saturation region, what is the base emitter voltage according to the standard specification for a silicon transistor? Let us consider these transistors or silicon. VB sat value is nothing but it is the base voltage is equal to 0.7 volts, and VCE sat collector emitter voltage for the on transistor, the AND transistor is here, it is directly grounded. VC2 is nothing but it is equal to VCE, so therefore it is considered as VC2 is equal to 0.3 volts. This is for on transistor. So here Q2 is on and Q1 off is the we have considered this case. When Q1 is off, that is this particular transistor is open circuited. If it is open circuited, what is the base currents? Base current is equal to 0. If base current is 0, the collector current will also be equal to 0. So we got four parameters here. The four parameters or four variables we got here, that is VC2 is equal to VCE sat, which is equal to 0.3 volts, and VB2 base voltage, VB2 is VBE sat, which is equal to 0.7 volts, and we got this is for transistor Q2. For the transistor Q1 we got IB1 and IC1 values. These are the default values we have got here. So for considering Q2 on, Q1 off. So other values or other variables we have to find here is VC1, VB1 and IC2 and IB1. So these are the values we have to find here: VC1, VB1, IC2 and IB2. First we will find VC1 here. So we have to find VC1 here. VC1 is the collector voltage of the first transistor. This potential at this point, let us consider this as a node 1, and this node 1 is connected to VCC, and one more terminal it is connected to VB2 here. So if you see the circuit of this one, this is connected to VCC at one end with the RC resistance, and the potential at this point is VC1. Again this is open circuited. Q1 is off, it is open circuited, and R1, and the potential at this point is equal to VB2. So there are two voltages, VCC and VB2. The voltage VC1 at this point depends on these two voltages. So we can apply the superposition principle here. What is superposition principle? The total response at a particular point is equal to sum of individual responses considering one source at a time and nullifying the effect of other source. So let us consider with effect of VCC by nullifying VB2 by nullifying the effect of VB2, that is VB2 is equal to 0. We apply a superposition principle here. So by applying superposition principle, what will be the resultant current here, resultant voltage? So VC1 at this point in the first case is with VCC, RC and R1. This is directly grounded here, and we will consider this is VC1A. Now it's a sum of two voltages. VC1A is equal to VCC into total voltage into same resistance by sum of the resistances R1 plus RC. This is the potential due to VCC. Let us consider it as VC1A, and the other potential is VC1B. So that we'll get the total voltage as VC1 here. Now second case is by nullifying the effect of VCC here. By nullifying VCC from superposition principle here, by applying superposition principle, by nullifying the effect of VCC means VCC is grounded. VCC is grounded with RC, and the potential at this point is VC1, and the applied voltage is VB2 here. Now this is the applied voltage, and it is dividing between R1 and RC. Now VC1 is the potential across RC here. So by let us take VC1B here. So VC1B is equal to VB2 total voltage into across same resistance. Same resistance means we are taking the voltage across this RC resistance, RC divided by sum of the resistors RC plus R1. So this is the voltage across the collector, the resistance RC, by nullifying the effect of VCC and by considering only VB2 here. So therefore VC1 is equal to, it's a combination of VC1A plus VC1B according to the superposition principle. VC1 is equal to VC1A, we already got, it is VCC into R1 divided by R1 plus RC by considering VB2 is equal to 0 by superposition principle, and we will consider one more source VB2 into and the resistance RC divided by R1 plus RC by considering VB1 is equal to 0. So this is the overall representation of the collector voltage VC1 by considering one of the sources at a time and nullifying the effect of other source. So in the problems they will give this R1 and R1 RC and VCC values. We should find out the stable state collector voltage. This is first one. So second we will find the base voltage here, VB1. Now next we have to find the VB1. So we already calculated VC1 here. So VB1 is equal to, how to find this VB1 is, it is the potential which is lies between minus VBB and VC2. So this is the voltage which is due to the voltage VC2 and minus VBB. So this is open circuited here. So if you see, this is R1 resistor, the voltage at this point is VC2 and it is connected here. The potential at this point is VB1 and the resistance is R2 across this is connected to minus VBB. So the potential at this point is VB1. So this potential is due to minus VBB and VC2. So how to get this potential is by using superposition principle. What is superposition principle? the voltage at a particular point is always equal to the sum of individual voltages by taking one source at a time and nullifying the effect of other sources. So we can find VB1 is a combination of VB1A by considering VC2 and neglecting the effect of VBB. Minus VBB is equal to 0 plus VB1B by neglecting the effect of VC2 is equal to 0 and by considering minus VBB. So we will find VB1A and VB1B here. So VB1A is the potential by considering minus VBB is equal to 0. Minus VBB is equal to 0 means this is grounded. If it is grounded, what is the potential at this point? VB1A is equal to total voltage into same resistance by sum of the resistances, that is VC2 into same resistance means R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So this is the potential due to the collector voltage VC2. So similarly we can find VB1B here. Next, by considering VC2 is equal to 0, the voltage is called VB1B. So when VC2 is equal to 0, so if VC2 is equal to 0 means we should nullify the effect of VC2 here. It is grounded. Now the VB1 is the potential across this R1. So any voltage is always respect to the potential is with respect to the ground. So therefore VB1B is equal to, so it is the potential at this point, VB1B is equal to applied voltage is minus VBB into same resistance means across R1 divided by R1 plus R2. So the total voltage now is a combination of two voltages. VB1 is equal to VB1A plus VB1B. So therefore VB1 is equal to VB1A plus VB1B. So we got VB1A is equal to VC2 into R2 divided by R1 plus R2 by considering minus VBB is equal to 0 plus another is with minus VBB into R1 divided by R1 plus R2. R1 divided by R1 plus R2 when VC2 is equal to 0 here. So this is the expression for VB1 and we got the expressions for VC1 and VB1. Now we will calculate the expressions for IC2 and IB2. Now here next variable is IC2. How to find the collector current IC2 here? So how to find this is from analyzing this circuitry. So here VCC is the DC supply with RC and the current flowing through this one is I2 and the current flowing through this transistor is IC2 and one more resistor is there, that resistance is R1. Through that the current flowing is, let us consider I4. So this is considered as I4 and this current is I3. Now this current is I4 and this is directly connected to the base of the first transistor VB1. Now we can able to analyze this current IC2 applying the nodal analysis at this node 2. Now what is KCL equation? By KCL at node 2, what is the equation? Incoming current is I2 and outgoing currents are IC2 and I4. So therefore the sum of entering currents is equal to sum of leaving currents I4 plus IC2. So therefore we can find IC2 here. So we want IC2, it is equal to I2 minus I4. So what is I2 here? I2 is the current which is flowing in this branch and the potential at this point is, as we know, it is equal to VC2 and the potential at this point is VCC. So therefore I2 is equal to, it's a potential difference divided by resistance. It is VC2 minus VCC. The potential at this point is upper potential minus lower potential. It is VCC minus VC2 divided by RC. This is the current I2. What is the current I4? I4 is again this is current, it is flowing from VC2 to VB1. So we can write the equation of I4 here. I4 is equal to higher potential minus lower potential, VC2 minus VB1 divided by R1. So we got the expressions for I2 and I4. If you substitute here in this equation, we can get IC2 here. So therefore IC2 expression is, the expression for IC2 is equal to, it is I2 minus I4. I2 is VCC minus VB2 divided by RC plus minus I4. I4 means VC2 minus VB1 divided by R1. So we can able to find the collector current IC2 with the help of VCC, VB2, VB1 and RC. So here it is actually I2 is equal to VCC minus VC2 divided by RC minus this is VC2 minus VB1 divided by R1. So anyway they'll give the values of R1 and RC, and we can able to find it this VCC value. So that so they will give the value of VCC. We can able to find the value of IC2 here. So one more variable is, we need to find one more variable here, base current. The base current is IB2 here. How to find IB2 here? IB2 is the base current of the transistor Q2. So what is the base current? How to find this current? Here it is IB2, and let us consider this current I6 and this is I5. Now this is directly connected here, which is R2 and with minus VBB, and the current flowing in this branch is I6, and one more branch is connected here through R1 and this is connected directly here. The current flowing in this branch is I3. Now the potential at this point is VC1. As we know, we have considered the case Q1 is off and Q2 is on. So we have considered this case, Q1 is off means this potential is VC1 here. Now I3 is the current which is flowing through this branch. Now when we apply the KVL at this node, let us consider this is a node 4. At this node, what is the KCL equation? By KCL, I3 incoming current is equal to outgoing currents. What is the incoming current? I3, and outgoing currents are IB2, which is flowing through the base of the second transistor Q2, and one more current which is leaving is I6. So we can able to find the value of IB2 here with the help of I3 and I6. So IB2 is equal to I3 minus I6. Now we need to analyze I3 and I6 here. I3, now the potential at this point is VB2. Now we will find the values of I3 and I6 here. Here I3 is equal to, I3 is nothing but it is the potential difference divided by resistance. The potential difference is VC1 minus VB2 divided by R1, and we can find I6 here. I6 is also the potential difference, the higher potential minus lower potential, that is VB2 minus of minus VBB divided by resistance. What is the resistance here? R2. So this can be considered as VB2 plus VBB divided by R2. As we know, the transistor Q1 is in off state. When the transistor Q1 is off state, this I1 current is very less and I2 current is maximum. When I1 is very less and approximately 0, this VC1, as we discussed in the previous video, VC1 is approximately equal to VCC. When Q1 is off, VC1 is equal to VCC. We can take ideally case VC1 is equal to VCC, means we can write this equation as VCC minus VB2 divided by R1. Now we can write the final expression here. The final expression for this one is, as we know, the base current IB2 is equal to, it's a difference between I3 minus I6. So what is the expression for I3 here? I3 is VCC minus VB2 divided by R1 minus, what is I6 here? I6 is VB2 plus VBB divided by R2. Now this is the expression for IB2. Now we got the stable state voltages and currents of a bistable multivibrator. As we discussed, we have started with an consideration of Q1 off and Q2 on, and we have calculated the values here, and the total voltages and currents are VC1, VC2, VB1, VB2, and the currents are IC1, IC2, and IB1, IB2. So we have got all stable state voltages and currents of a bistable multivibrator by considering Q1 off and Q2 on. This is one of the stable state. So we can consider other stable state also, that Q2 is on, sorry, Q2 is off and Q1 is on. So if we consider this is a stable state, we can able to analyze the stable state voltages and currents. So we got all the expressions in the problems. They will give this type of they will give the values VCC and resistors, all values they will give. They will ask you to find stable state voltages and currents. Hope you understand this topic. Thank you for watching this video.